Wonderful. Greetings, everybody. It's Brian Terrian, Jim, and our guest speaker today is Cassie.
Hi,
Yes,
everybody. There she is.
yes, yes. You have to look really close to see Cassie because she blends in with Jam's coat.
The
Hi. And if you look really
Hi.
close, you'll see that Cassie's tongue is out. So, yeah. And for those of you that are new here, yeah, this is the Disability Digest, and we're live today. We're going to go through some topics to help you get, keep, and maximize your disability benefits. I just want to see, I'm concerned we might have a technical issue. Can somebody just confirm that they can indeed see us?
Yeah.
You can?
hmm
Okay, wonderful. All right. So on tap today is part 2 of tight budget tips to help you save some money. So we went through 1 through 5 last week. We're going to go through 6 through 12 today. And then we learned a lot from you folks that submitted some different suggestions and things that you do. So that was fantastic. We encourage you to keep those coming. When we are done that segment today, then we're going to take some time to answer individual questions that you may have so we can get those answered for you. All right. So that's what we have on today. So before we get into the savings tips, Jim, is there anything that you want to make sure that we cover in advance? Any questions that came up, any points of interest this week from either you or our guest, Cassie?
Yeah, I get asked these questions, this specific question a lot for those who have already applied and waiting for a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they ask, what actions do you take? What steps can you take to expedite my approval process?
Okay. So is the question expediting? Is that the key word, or is it well, like what else can I do to maximize my chances?
Yeah, speeding up. What
Speeding up. Okay.
what do we do?
Speeding up is a tough one because this is the environment that we are faced with. Social Security's staffing level hit a 22-year low like 3 months ago. And so the staffing is really low. I'm giving you my like kind of graph chart. So you have low staffing. And then the number of Social Security disability cases is like, maybe it's not at an all-time high, but it's close. There's 1.1 million cases in the system. So stay with me, folks. We have low staffing, high cases. The projections for the next 12 months are for another 400,000 cases to go into the system. So to get anything done fast with the resources that are in there is really difficult. There isn't a magic bullet for it. So one thought that I have to share with you is, there are situations if you're homeless, if you have a Terry case, which is you have a life-threatening illness, there are some instances where Social Security has a regulation that they'll speed it up, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get approved. One other thing is if you're a veteran with a 100% rating, those cases have a regulation where you are, where they view them faster. So those are a few things. I'm not saying they actually work. I'm just saying they are regulations that they have. Last point I want to make on this, Jam, is this, is to be careful about applying pressure of using like a government official or calling and bugging Social Security until your case file is fully developed. Right? So
Right.
what does fully developed mean? One example of fully developed is if you have 5 doctors that you're seeing and those have been listed with Social Security, then and they've only collected medical records from like 3 of them,
Mhm.
then your case isn't fully developed. You're missing some medical evidence. So if you apply pressure and ask for a decision, you're going to get a decision that's not going to be on all your medical evidence, which is likely not one that you're going to want. Okay. So that was a bit of a long-winded answer on the situation, but there's not a lot of not a lot of good options. You just need to wait it out. You know, I set expectations for people, Jam, that if you apply, you can figure it's going to be at least 7 months for a decision.
Right.
If you have to appeal at reconsideration, it's likely going to be another 7 months. If you get denied there, then you have to request a hearing. That's going to be 12 months. So I guess the one thing that you could do to speed it up is do it right in the very beginning, because you can definitely get approved at initial. So, wow, that was a long answer, but
Thanks, though.
yeah, yeah. All right. Anything else on that?
Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. Just a heads up, if you are using a disability representative, you know, one of the things that we can do here at the Disability Digest is when you join us as a member is you get access to a disability approval course. It's no charge for the membership or the course. But the course goes through each step that you do, like what do you do at initial? What do you do at reconsideration? What do you do to prepare for your hearing? So you can make sure that the steps are being done then right, either by yourself if you're managing your own case, or if you're using a representative, then you can make sure your representative is doing it. So that's something that we can do here to, you know, to help you out, is make sure you understand the process and what needs to be done so it's getting done right. Okay. All right, so let's spend some time on some tips to help folks with their finances. And I'm doing this again, as I mentioned last week, because although you had a cost of living increase in your disability check, if you're approved, that cost of living was based on the prior 12 months of inflation. And so you've been, and inflation has continued to go up since you started receiving that. So, you know, when you get that COLA, yeah, it's nice, but that cost of living increase is really 12 months outdated, one way to look at it. So we do these. So I'm going to cover a few points here. One of the things that, as I've looked around and done research, is there are discounts that are out there that many people just don't know about or don't ask for. Like one example is an Amazon Prime that's common. Amazon Prime has a discount for those that are disability recipients. I don't know if anybody out here has taken advantage of that. If you are, you can give it a shout out. If you're doing anything in the educational, like going back to school, if you're doing it, you know, privately without a benefit counselor, then you should definitely ask for educational discounts. And if you are doing it with a benefit counselor, then they can certainly help you with that. And you know, if you're traveling or going on holidays and doing anything like that, I'm going to put up on my screen here. I have this that I found. You know, like rental cars is something that you can. There's discounts, and the links for these items that I'm sharing with you are below the video in the show notes. So you check it out after the video. After we're done today, it would be ideal. But make sure that you look into if you need to rent a car or are renting cars or going places, that you take advantage of a discount like that. For legal aid, hopefully you don't need it, or other resources, then the Centers for Independent Living is a great resource. You know, maybe you've got a conflict with a landlord. somebody's dog bit you, whatever it might be that you have to deal with, I would encourage you to take a look at using the resources that they have at the Centers for Independent Living. Most of the offices have free legal aid. If it's something heavy that you're like if you're a disability applicant and you're looking at using free legal aid versus somebody who does this all the time for money and gets paid, I would caution you because they take a lot of cases. They're usually interns that do the work. And yeah, they might be an attorney that's new or going to be an attorney, but it's a get what you pay for deal. And if you're okay with that, then that's fine. But it's not like somebody that's been doing this for years and has experience. So Centers for Independent Living. I just went through personally recently and looked at the subscriptions that we have. Like there's a lot of things that are on auto pay, from phone to look at all the streaming services that we have, which was way too many. So I would encourage people to monitor their credit card statements, their subscriptions, just to make sure that those are tight. There's services out there that do this for you now. You can pay them and they'll go in and do it, but I don't feel it's necessary. You should be able to monitor your own. In our household here, in the Terrian household, there's services that we had that hadn't been used in months. So I probably should do it every 6 months. Last week, we learned from a member that contacting your utility companies and asking for discounts, and maybe that's electric or water, is an option in some area. So that's something I just wanted to retweet, if you will.
Yeah. I think that's specific for senior citizens.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't for disability recipients?
That I'm not quite sure.
Okay. I'd check into it. There's I don't know if anybody follows Mark Cuban online, who's Shark Tank guy, but he's got some YouTube videos and shorts of things that he still does to this day, which is he buys in bulk. So if you know that you're going to use, Kleenex, for example, or toilet tissue or anything like that, and there's a sale on it, he has a specific room in his house where he just loads up and leaves it there, and you can get a good return on your investment. The other thing that I learned from him also is shopping by time of day and time of week. It, where there's better deals, there's better inventory. There's information that you can. There is a link in the show notes, but that is about Mark Cuban's grocery strategy. So I'll just throw it up on the screen here, but that is another tip for you. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but one of the, if we didn't, I want to go through it again. You can save money on gas. And this is a video that I did on it, which is below. It brings you to the website, shows you what to look for, how much you can save. And this is another way of many of you out there, I expect, are driving. So you can save money on gas with just check this video out. All right, so we've got one more category to go over here, which is finance. And I'm going to go and kind of I'll do it this way. I don't proclaim to give financial advice, but this is the best book that I've read that gives you simple financial strategies. And it's not, Tony Robbins is a very well-known speaker, but the book is not information from Tony. The book is interviews with leading financial gurus and wealthy people from different walks of life, from T-bone pickings to Warren Buffett. He's just interviewed all of these guys, and he breaks it down into 7 steps of, even if you can only work with $10 or $15 a month, what to do to be financially disciplined to make a difference. So enjoy that. As you see, it's available on Amazon. And there's a lot of interviews that Tony has done about this. If you don't want to buy the book, you can just go out and look for interviews that he's done about this book to get kind of a vibe and a feel for it. But I'd highly recommend that. If you're a credit card user and you've accumulated debt, I've learned a few things from interviewing people about debt consolidation. One is you can typically negotiate credit card debt. And at the Centers for Independent Living, you could likely find a credit counselor. If this has happened to you because of medical expenses, not able to work, maybe you got injured or sick and you didn't have a disability income protection and it really banged you up. But you should be able to negotiate. I know there was a point in time in my life where I had a real challenge financially, accumulated a lot of debt. And I negotiated it down to like 15% or less on credit card debt. And it may take a while. You don't have to do it like verbally. You can do it in writing. There's some simple steps to take. But the point is I would think if you're a disability recipient, you're in a stronger position to negotiate than you would be as somebody that is expected to work or is able to work. So, keep that in mind if you've got debt out there. I mean, you could just take the high road and pay it off for sure, but that's an option. If you're a frequent user of credit cards, like there's household expenses and things that I do here to manage household and business, but there's credit cards where you can earn cash back. Like there's Capital One has cards that you can earn up to 4% cash back. And that's pretty attractive, even if, you're just spending $1,000 a month. But most things that we can run through the card, we just run through the card, we get the cash back, and then pay the card off at the end of the month so we can earn, the difference. So you think of it, you can reduce your expenses by 2 to 4% by just using that simple strategy. So those are some tips. Are we getting any other suggestions out there, Jam?
Yeah, quite a lot actually.
All right. So let's do this. I've got 2 more quick things I just want to go through as talking points, and then we can take on some of those. We've talked a bunch about side hustles and what you can do. I think, if you've got a tight budget and you can do something or would like to do something, this resource that I have up on the screen is a collection of information and interviews that we have put together of what others are doing that are members here to supplement their income. So, I mean, even if you could do a small lawn mowing business where you're riding around your neighborhood and making a couple $100 a month, to freelancing, work at home jobs, traditional jobs, building a website, YouTube channel, mystery shopping, working at a center for independent living, donating plasma. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that our members are doing that are very creative. So have a look at this resource, get some ideas. And maybe doing exactly what they're doing is not a fit, but how they approach it and some of their life lessons may apply to you. Okay. All right. So let's take some tips out there first. Like, I'd like to learn what other people are doing, Jam, for like their tight budget tips before we get to general questions. Is that possible to separated out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here's one from Jiga. The grocery and utility benefit through Medicare and LIHEAP. And I looked it up. It's low income home energy assistance program.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a
Has
great
been a
point.
big help.
I wonder if the low energy, is that through a local organization, like through your county social services? I'd be curious about that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I think so. Also follow up from Jiga. 211 and Find Help are great
Yep.
resources for nonprofits and charities for help with rent, food, pantries, and transportation to doctor's appointments.
Okay. I was not aware that you could get rent assistance. Awesome.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And saving tips from Moon Chi. I cook most meals at home, cheaper than eating out.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good one. Mm-hmm.
right. Okay. Shake Scan, we have a HEAP program in Maine, HEAP. I think that's the same with what Jiga mentioned.
All right.
And I think I qualify for free fuel next winter. In my case,
Mm-hmm.
firewood, but it can be oil, propane, or other.
Yep. Shout out to Maine. I went to school there, used to live and have a home in Gray. So stay
Yeah.
warm. All
And
right.
this one's from Patrick Schmidt. I receive money from a fund or grant from a local social services. It is income based and can get you money for water, gas, for my heart, and they will actually tune up your heating system to continue some things to pay past due utilities payments and bring you current. As with many state or federal help, it is a fund or grant with an allotment. So
Wow.
once the money is depleted, it is then over.
Okay. So
Mm.
I'm wondering if it's like California state disability, where you have a certain allotted bucket of money for your own needs. And once you use that up, you're done. Or is it the general bucket and you can get as much out of it until it is done gone? But that's a great one.
Yeah. Also follow up from Patrick. I was originally laid off due to COVID in January 2021. There was a
Mm-hmm.
program in all 50 states. It is called the Home Affordable Care Act, and they paid 52,000 in areas areas, I'm not sure, and brought my account current. They will also pay 6 months going forward if you meet requirements. I have received over 70 grand. The only
70,000? Dang.
right,
Wow.
and you must stay in your home for 5 years, then it is a grant.
Wow. That even woke Cassie up. Huh?
Yeah, you
That's a good
noticed.
one. All right.
Okay, from Patrick, it wasn't based on disability, it is income based.
Okay. All right. Boy, we're
Okay.
getting some really good ones today. This is
Right?
awesome.
Yeah. I think that's it for the tips.
Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
I've been making $100 a week at the plasma center from Rob Jacobs.
Okay. Super.
Mhm.
How much time does it take you is that like one visit or anything you could share? I'd be curious about that for the plasma. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. My two closing tips on this, folks, for everybody is win your disability case quick so you get money in your household as soon as possible. Don't, you know, eh, do everything you can at the initial application. We're here to help you with that. And then once you're approved, of course, do what you guys are doing. Stay tuned in to hear network and have your benefits reviewed at least annually so that you can see if there's anything else out there. This is great. Okay. You want to move on to some general questions, Jam?
Yeah, but Rob answered for the plasma center about an hour, 2 times a week.
Okay, so 2 hours for $100. That's pretty good. Good for you.
1 hour, yeah, 2 times a week, $100.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay, for general questions, we have I have COPD and will likely not get approved. I refuse to drive 200 miles when there are many places near my home to get a chest x-ray. I've done the lung function tests. This is how they roll.
Hmm. All right. Sounds like a statement.
Yeah,
Um, I hope and pray that you get approved, as I pray for everybody to get approved. It sounds to me like there's a distance concern. Um, yeah,
yeah. Going to the doctors.
yeah. You,
Okay.
you know, I guess I'll just throw this out there. Do your best to stay in compliance and get treated for your conditions. And if there isn't any ability for you financially or logistically to get treated locally, just do the best you can and make sure that that point is communicated. I'm not saying it's going to be the end all answer, but it's the best you can do.
Right. From Marina, I received paperwork asking for my daily activity. Do I go into details or how do I address that?
Yeah, great question. These are very, very important documents to fill out. I'll just start by that because what you put in there for the answers is going to influence your case if you to get approved at this level. But if you don't, the judge, when you go to your hearing, is going to ask you questions that are based on what you put in there. So my best advice is if you're a member here, then make sure you reach out to us. Just reply to an email or respond to the phone number you've been provided and ask one of the advocates to point out which lesson you need in our disability approval course. And we have a video interview with attorney Carl Osterhow, and he goes through, explains the concept and how to answer these, and actually goes through each and every question, telling you what to put and what not to put. If you're not a member, Jim will put a link in here. You can join us. No charge for the membership, no charge for the course. You can get your answers all done for free. Yep.
Okay. All right. Here's one from Jim. Good afternoon, gang. I'm wondering if the fact that I receive private long-term disability insurance will affect my ability to keep my SSDI when I'm up for a review.
I'm going to go with no, because that is something that you paid for, a
Mm-hmm.
private policy, and it doesn't have any impact on your health and your conditions and the qualification for Social Security. So I'm going with no on that one.
Right. Okay. Brian, are there any new emergency rental relief grants coming down through the individual states in the coming months?
Boy, I have no idea. Anybody else know anything about this? If you do, just give us a shout out.
Right. This one's from Ramon. Hi, I have autoimmune disease, cardiac and pulmonary sarcoidosis in remission. Also severe asthma. Have CDR in 5 to 7 years. Will I get notified if they will review my case? The doctor recommends gym activity.
Yes, you'll be notified. And they will send you a form. There's two different versions of the form. And either a short form or a long form. Regarding your continuing disability review and for others, here at the Disability Digest on our YouTube channel, there's information that can help you. The industry expert on this topic is attorney James Mitchell Brown, and he was gracious enough to let us interview him, and he provided a 10-step process, what you can do to prepare for your review, what to do if you get it, what to do if it gets denied. So 4 of those 10 segments are on our YouTube channel. You can just search the keyword CDR, like continuing disability review. For the full course, when you join us as a member, or if you already have and you don't have it, just reach out to us via email or put it in your comments when you join us as a member. I would like the CDR course, please. We send it to a limited amount of people at a time that are members, the full course, because it has support, legal support in it. And we just don't want to overload that resource. So,
All right. Okay, this question's from Diona. So we can still use you even though we have a representative?
absolutely. Yeah. Yep. So if you're using a representative, definitely the course has value because, you'll again see what needs to be done. And for example, doctor support. Let's just use that. Everybody needs doctor support in writing. And if you've hired a representative and they haven't brought this up or they haven't done this step, you can definitely do it on your own and keep it and do their work for them. But it might give you an indication that you've hired somebody that is not doing what they need to do or what they could be doing to get you approved. Right. So it holds them accountable. That's what other people have used it for. Yeah.
All right, this one's from Danny. How do you tell people that you are on disability? I never received a card or anything that shows I am eligible or on disability.
Well, the approval process has written notification that you receive or should receive via the U.S. mail. Also in your My Social Security account, they notify you there, and then your bank account, money flowing into it. So those are the 3 ways that you would know if you're approved for disability. If somebody else out there that's a disability recipient was notified another way, they don't tell you over the phone, at least in my experience, they haven't.
Okay, this one's from Bob. My wife is 62 and applying for disability. Will you explain the grid rules? How do they apply and can we get a copy?
So the grid rules are available online. You can just go out and type in Social Security grid rules. Jonathan Ginsburg, who we do some work with, does some of our hearings, has done some of our course content, has videos on it. But the concept of the grid rules is I'm going to circle back to my thought but the concept of the grid rules is based on your age and your education. And so for people that are over 50, the grid rules apply to your case, that if you are of a certain age, have a certain type of work experience, and have a certain type of educational experience, then you fall into a category that they call a grid ruling, that you can be considered disabled. Now, if you're just starting out and you're looking at the grid rules, they're not effective at the initial application. And here's why. You would think they would be because it's Social Security regulation. In the disability approval process, your initial application goes to your local state agency. And they don't do any work there to process hearings. They have claims examiners that work on the initial application and that work on reconsideration if it's available. So where grid ruling comes into effect is if your case has to go to court, then the attorney will argue that you meet a grid ruling. And the judges understand this language. They're trained to understand it, but at the lower levels, unfortunately, it's not real successful. I wouldn't discourage you if you can figure it out and believe you meet one to communicate it, but just heads up on, it's not the silver bullet.
Okay.
I kind of feel like we're putting some of our audience to sleep, Cassie.
She's she's kind of snoring. I don't know if you can hear it.
I won't take it personally.
Yeah, she's old. Okay. I heard that paying your credit card twice a month as divided payment will pay it off twice as fast because the interest stays lower. Tip from Savannah, I think.
Nice one. I like it. So instead of paying, for example, $500 once, you pay $250 and $250,
Right.
right? Okay,
Right.
good.
Okay. From Tazita, can I get SSDI and SSI benefit at the same time and about to work while getting those benefit?
Yes. Conceptually, you can. But working, you have to understand how much you can work and apply for your disability benefits. So if you're working, there's a lot of questions in there, but I'm just saying it is possible to obtain what you asked in the question without knowing all the details. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Um, Another tip from Rob Jacobs, I got a month's rent from the Catholic Church one time.
I know Catholic Charities here in Vermont has done a similar thing. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, this one's from JMHH. Just want to say thank you, Brian, Philip, Jam, and everyone you've had on for all that you do to help others. Your kindness
Mm,
and hard work are appreciated. You're awesome people. Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. From Jigob, Brian, how do you handle income from a YouTube channel that is growing in AdSense, but monetization past the SGA threshold, but not enough to live comfortably?
Right. Well, first of all, congratulations as a fellow YouTuber. I know that I'd love to hear what your channel is so I could check it out. But I'm not sure if the AdSense revenue falls into passive income. I don't know. And to find that out, you would need to speak with like a tax guy. I know like insurance income does, that's passive. My hunch is it is, but that's where you would get the answer to that. So just so that everybody knows out there, if you have passive income, like rental income, insurance, like insurance agents that have renewals or passive income, then that income does not count towards the allowed amount that you can make. So,
Right.
yeah,
This one's from Keith. Hi, if I draw SSDI for a few months, then stop, will that impact my FRA, SSA annuity?
I need to hear that one again. If I draw,
Um, SSDI for a few months, then stop, will that impact my FRA, SSA?
I don't know the answer to that. I think I'm trying to think through the question. I don't know anybody that gets on Social Security disability just for a few months. I've known them do it for years.
Mhm.
But I think the question is full retirement amount. So if you go, the question could also be phrased, if you go on Social Security disability, will that impact your full retirement amount? If that's
Yeah,
the, if
that's a
that,
question.
okay, if that's the question, then this is my answer. If you look at your full retirement amount and you compare that to your Social Security disability amount, they're about the same, within like 2% usually. So when you apply for disability, you lock in your Social Security disability amount. It's called the wage freeze. So my answer to that would be your disability check is going to be the same for the rest of your life, with the exception of COLA. So you could look at it and say no, because I'm getting my full retirement when I apply for disability. On the other hand, you could say if you go on disability, and if had you not go on disability and you're out there killing it, making, $100,000 a year and paying more taxes, then your full retirement amount would go up. Hopefully that helps you out.
Right. How does disability onset date impact my earnings record? Does it impact the years prior when I earned zero? Will those 0 years not negatively impact me anymore?
I don't see that there is a connection between your onset date of disability and your earnings record. Your earnings record, if I understand the question correctly, is based on how much you worked and the taxes that you paid. So that's one thing. Then you have your health over here. So you have your work on one situation. Then you have your health, which is I had to stop working on this date because of my sickness or injury, and that is your onset date. I don't see the connection.
All right. From Tracy Anderson, my renewal for Social Security disability is coming up towards the end of the year. I want to keep my disability. So how do I know I will be able to keep my disability?
Mm. Uh, you'll get notification. Now, they don't always come on time, folks. They have 1.6 million people a year will be reviewed, but that's what the budget is. But, if your time is up, you might not get it. So the best advice I have for people that are concerned about this is, one, I applaud you for coming here, because we do have the answers to help you out. But just to do what you can control in your doctor's visits and your communication to your doctors, and make sure you're aware of the things that you shouldn't be doing and the information that we share with you, so that when your review comes, you'll be done, prepared. You've done everything you can do.
Right. From Jackie Collins, I have just been approved for SSDI and Medicare. What options do I have for Medicare?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. It depends. There's a lot of variables with Medicare. Once you're approved, you have to, consider where you live, your zip code, and what's available for plans and resources in that area. Then you have to take into consideration, these are just some of the things, your doctors. So I'm not answering your question directly, but I will get closer to it. Then you need to take into consideration your Social Security disability check amount. Do you qualify for extra help programs? Do you have any conditions that might entitle you to extra benefits? So those are some of the key things. Here at the Disability Digest, with your membership, we provide a free benefit review that you can request, or just reply to any email or phone number. And it's with your membership, there's no charge for it. And we will go through all of those variables and help you understand what options you have that are in your area. And if you do happen to go forward with one of those options and we help you enroll in a plan, we provide an extra level of support for you here at the Disability Digest. If you're one of our clients that we help with your insurance needs. And what we provide is a benefit protection service, so that if and when you get your disability review, you have access to us to help you understand what to do, review your forms. If you get denied, you have access to our legal team. If it goes back to court, you have access to our attorneys to help you resolve it. So You can do this all on your own. There's a lot of videos that we've done back in September that will help you do the whole review, and you can search it all out. Or you can contact us, and we'll review it for you and help you understand your options. And there's no charge for working with us. No charge for the review, no charge for the enrollment, no charge for the benefit protection plan.
Great. Okay. There's one from Patrick. I'm about the New York State homeowner assistance fund. Um, it is a federally funded program dedicated to assisting homeowners who are at risk and will provide homeowners who were affected by COVID-19 with several types of support, financial support to address delinquent housing payments
Okay.
that result in an affordable outcome, and homeowners can get access to free legal assistance and housing counseling support with HAF approved provider in your area.
I want to thank you. That's a lot of information that you provided
Right.
us and others. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. If you're a New Yorker, for sure, perhaps there's something that other states have done like this. So,
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. From Jim, how long does a CDR typically take?
well, when you get your form, short or long form, and you fill it out and send it back in, oftentimes they just don't reply. And sometimes they will reply, and I don't know what the percentage is, and say, no, you're either denied or there's no further information at this time. So I don't know in all cases because I don't. I just maybe somebody else is out there who has had a review and they've gotten a reply either approved or denied could chime in and share your experience. That would be wonderful. What the time frame was.
Okay. From Jim, if denied after CDR, can you appeal, and would contacting your elected representative help?
Yes, you can appeal, and yes, you can contact us and consider using the legal resources. I'm in hopes that you don't get to that level, but if you need to, then for sure, that's why we have them.
Right. From Kix, I'm 62 years old, over 23 years at my current job and on workers' comp. With restriction not being accommodated by job, I have applied for SSDI. What are my chances of being approved?
Very difficult to know without the details. I
Right.
mean, it's Jim, you probably get this when you're speaking with people.
Yeah.
They say I've got X, Y, and Z condition, but it's not the conditions, folks. It's the limitations caused by those conditions and how they're preventing you from either not being able to do any work in the U.S. economy, or depending on how old you are, you may the premise of your case may be built on proving that you can't do your prior work. So I wish you well. If you come in and go through our process, we can help you get like an 85% understanding if you can make it or not. It's just because our team here sees so many variables and options that when we talk to you, we have a really good idea which cases can get through and which cases cannot.
Okay. This one's from Deb Phillips. Did I just hear that at age 62, I am now receiving Social Security and not disability?
So there's Social Security early retirement that you can take at age 62. So I'll use an example. Let's say you're age 62, a check amount is $1,500. And you can take that. Your full retirement amount is $2,000. It's usually something like that. Your disability amount is likely $1,970, somewhere in there, for example. So if you're at age 62 and you're collecting early and you apply for disability, then you would go from your $1,500 check amount to your disability amount of $1,970 in my example. Yeah.
Right. Another tip from Jiga, keep your monthly deposits on your Direct Express card to maximize your food stamps benefits. It doesn't count towards your traditional bank or credit union balance or assets.
I want to hear that one more time, please.
Yeah. Keep your monthly deposits on your Direct Express card to maximize your food stamp benefits. It doesn't count.
Oh,
So it doesn't count towards your traditional bank or credit union balance or assets.
interesting. I did not know that. So I'm also wondering, wow, that's a really good tip. Folks, I hope you got that one. And if you're not using Direct Express, that's a really good reason to use it. Huh.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I had zero and retroactively the onset date goes back prior to cover the years where I had zero earnings. That's what I meant. Uh, that is a follow-up from the question, does it impact the years prior where I earned zero?
Okay. I'm sorry. Repeat that for me one more time.
I had zero and retroactively the onset date goes back prior to cover the years where I had zero earnings.
Mm-hmm. I'm still
hmm
not getting the question. Sorry.
His question earlier was, how does disability onset date impact my earnings record? Does
Right.
it impact the years prior where I earned zero? Will those 0 years not negatively impact me anymore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that, but I still don't get the question and how it's different from my answer. Am I missing something? Maybe I am.
hmm
Yeah. If you want to email that one into support at the Disability Digest and say, Brian, take another look at this, I will. It's just not clear to me what it is that's being asked there.
Okay. Disabled officer. Hi, Brian and Jam. Thank you for your help for low income elderly people. Many people depend on your services. Thank you, John. Good morning, YouTube channel. Just applied for Social Security Disability in July. Checking progress. It was 340 days for review. Today it changed to 350 days for final. Stated 68% reviewed. Thanks.
What
From
state
Tracy.
what state are you in? Be interesting to know. And listen up for all of you applicants. That's 1 year plus for a decision. So I said 7 months, but there's like Florida and Texas are like really behind.
Right. Okay, no follow-up yet, but there's a follow-up from Tracy. So at my renewal, I can utilize the CDR in order to reapply for disability.
You don't need to reapply. It's just an evaluation to see if you're still entitled. So when you say CDR, I don't know if you're referencing the CDR course, but I'm going to presume that you are. The course
hmm
helps you prepare, answer the questions, get through it, and helps you understand what to do if you don't get through it. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Answer to that question, Brian. He or she lives in Florida.
Florida. Yeah. By the way, folks, fastest processing time in the United States, right here in Vermont. I don't know why, but that's what the recent statistics are. Yep. Any Vermonters out
Mhm.
there? Anybody from Vermont in the audience today? All right.
Follow-up from Oz. So my onset date goes back to 2019. My 2020 earning was zero. 2021 was zero. Do those 0 years go away since my onset goes to 2019, or does the wage freeze cover that?
The wage freeze is the wage freeze is when you applied, and what the wage freeze does, I hope this answers your question, is it stops the zeros being averaged into your check amount. So if the time that you apply, it says that your Social Security disability check amount is $1,970 a month. Then when you apply, it stops that. It will be that if you get approved. The alternative, if the wage freeze wasn't there, if it took you 2 years to get approved, then there would be 2 more years of zeros being averaged in, and that $1,970 might come down to $1,900 a month.
Okay. Here's a follow-up question from Jiga. Will benefits be canceled if traveling to Thailand for 3 to 4 weeks for dental work? Also, dual advantage medical only, insurance applicable overseas, and how would you obtain if it doesn't?
Got a lot of questions. The Thailand question is no. You can travel, but just be aware that when you travel, Medicare does not cover you outside of the US. And I'm actually getting ready to go see Jam and traveling to another country. And I know
Yeah.
that through United Healthcare, you can get travel health insurance that's very reasonable. So I've done a video on it. If you use the keyword travel on our YouTube channel, I believe you'll find it. So you can consider doing that. That wasn't one of your questions, but I'm just thinking that for me anyway, when I like to have access to healthcare when I travel. So, and my healthcare is the same way. It doesn't cover me in depth when I travel. What was the other parts of the question, Jam?
Um, how would you obtain it if it doesn't?
Obtain, remind me what it
Um,
is.
I think he's on dual advantage
Oh, okay.
insurance. Mm-hmm.
So right. So that's a Medicare, Medicaid policy. So Medicaid doesn't work outside of your area. Medicaid is a state-based program. And then Medicare doesn't work if you travel internationally. So for coverage, it sounds like you're going to have dental work done, paying for cash and paying a lot less. Great idea. But I would look into the travel insurance to cover you. If you're going for 3 weeks, my hunch is it's probably like $80 to $100 to get travel insurance. They don't do any. See if I can find it. Yep, found it. So I'm going to put the video in the link in the chat here. Whoops, not that one. Okay. I'm actually feeling that I'm contributing something by putting this travel insurance in there, because you guys have put out so many good tips here today. All right, so just look for travel insurance and that video will help you out. And below the video is the link and the phone number to the service that you can call.
Okay.
2 more questions before I run out of time here.
All right. Follow up from us. So is it application date or onset date for SSDI?
Are we on the wage freeze question?
Yeah.
It's application date. When you start your application, it freezes it. The
Okay.
month that you start it. Yeah.
Okay. And another tip from Jiga, made a mistake of transferring leftover funds on direct express card to regular bank, was docked
Mm,
80 dollars in food stamps, and next review kept the direct express balance on the card and got max stamps back.
dang.
Nice.
How many out there
Cool,
use
cool,
Direct
cool.
Express for their deposits? I'd love to hear about that. this is perhaps something we could do a little bit more research on. Or if anybody is in the audience and a Direct Express user, lover, and knows it and wants to come join on one of our shows, I would be delighted to give you a little thank you that you could shop with. So just reach out to us. You can contact support at the Disability Digest. Let us know if you're interested. So good. All right. I don't see any Direct Express replies. Maybe we're just one and done on that. But anyway, listen, folks, as we wrap up here, this has been awesome. I learned from you folks, which is great. Thank you for sharing and all your contributions and coming out today. It's a privilege for us to have the opportunity to get out here and learn from and share with. So, and we'll be back next week for our next YouTube Live. I don't know about Cassie. If she's, I don't think she was very well entertained today. She might not be back. Look like a
Maybe.
stuffed animal. She's just.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Yes, yes. All right, everybody. Make it a great day. Until the next time, Brian and
All
Jam
right.
and Cassie from the Disability Digest.
Bye.
Peace. Be well.
Bye, guys.